and welcome to ConstangyTV's Close-Up on Workplace Law, where we zoom in on recent developments of interest to employers, their attorneys, and to their human resources professionals. I'm your host, Leigh Tyson, and I'm a partner in Constangy's Atlanta office. So it's been about a year since the Me Too movement swept the nation. And meanwhile, a study that was just performed by Challenger, Gray, and Christmas has shown that employers are increasingly scrapping their holiday parties in 2018. And this may be because of fear of sexual harassment lawsuits. So in the wake of Me Too, are holiday parties totally dead? Or is there some sort of way that employers can have their cake and eat it too? So here to talk about this today is Mary Dohner Smith. And Mary is a partner in our Nashville office. She is the co-chair of our retail industry group, and she's also a former HR professional. So she's really seen these issues from both sides. Currently, she represents employers in all kinds of industries, and she also is a well-known speaker and a great writer. And I'm just really excited that she is here today to talk to us about this issue. So Mary, welcome.
Thank you, Leigh. It's good to be here.
So Mary, a couple years ago, I interviewed Gary Wheeler on this program and asked him about holiday parties. And he said we can still have them, but he gave us some guidelines, to follow. What about now? Can we still have holiday parties?
Leigh, I think it's absolutely fine to still have holiday parties, even in the post-Me Too era. However, employers do have to be careful, and they have to take some precautions.
All right, now you're saying holiday parties are okay, but I want to make sure we're talking about the same kind of holiday parties. I'm not talking about pizza in the conference room at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. I mean at night, at a hotel, at a restaurant, alcohol, I get to wear cute shoes, like that kind of holiday parties. Can we still do those?
Leigh, yes, you can still get dressed up and wear your cute shoes. Like the dab, holiday parties are not necessarily dead, even the good ones. Yay. In fact, the study that you referred to didn't necessarily indicate that the decline in holiday parties is really related to the Me Too movement. It may have more to do with the fact that so many people are working remotely these days. It's just harder to pull these types of parties together. Usually, the issues relate to alcohol consumption. When people drink too much, they tend to decrease their inhibitions and cut loose. And sometimes that can lead to bad things happening. So one of the first things that employers want to do when it comes to these traditional holiday parties, the fun parties with all the dancing and fancy shoes, is try to limit the amount of alcohol that the employees are actually consuming.
I get the idea there. That makes sense to kind of limit the alcohol. But what are you supposed to do? Just like force feed them Kool-Aid and bottled waters? That seems difficult.
No, I don't think you have to go quite that far. There are a number of ways you can actually reduce alcohol consumption without restricting it completely. For example, you can have a cocktail hour. Another option is just to provide each employee with 2 or 3 tickets for the bar. And then once those tickets are done, so is their alcohol consumption. Another possibility is putting together a cash bar where employees pay for their own drinks. And that may limit individuals' excessive drinking just due to the expense associated with it.
Yeah, those are all good, sneaky ideas for keeping people somewhat sober. I like it. But what about those states where they've legalized marijuana? Have you heard any stories about employers offering pot to employees at holiday parties?
Leigh, that is something I haven't heard of yet, especially here in Tennessee. But I suspect it may be on the horizon, maybe out in California or Colorado.
Okay, so besides limiting alcohol consumption and apparently not offering joints to all of your employees, what else would you recommend as far as limiting consumption and keeping things safe at your holiday party?
One thing employers can do is think about expanding the holiday party to invite spouses and significant others. Sometimes that can cut down on risky activity.
Yeah, it seems you're a lot less likely to harass somebody if your husband or wife is watching, it would seem.
Well, one would at least hope so, Leigh. But we have had some incidents where it is the spouse or significant other that's had a little too much to drink and engaged in the bad acts.
Employers can't win. That's not even their employee. Do you have any other suggestions?
I do. One thing that employers can do is identify a couple low-key chaperones to kind of keep an eye on things during the party. If they see anything getting out of hand, step in and intervene, especially if they see individuals who seem like they're pairing up and getting a little too friendly.
Ooh, especially in a hotel, I bet. Is there anything you'd recommend that employers do before the party even begins?
Definitely. Employers can remind their employees of the harassment policy that's in place and remind them that it is a workplace event. Therefore, they really need to be acting as though they're in the workplace rather than out at their own private social event. It might be a damper, but no employee should feel like it's acceptable to simply cut loose at a holiday party as they would at their own party.
That makes sense. And I guess in other words, dull is kind of good.
Dull is better than having careers ruined over bad judgment.
I mean, and even if it's dull, you can still wear your cute shoes. So, hey, and get a cocktail or two, right?
Exactly. It's all about those shoes, Leigh.
Okay, let's say the employer decides, look, this is just too much legal risk. I don't want to put up with this. Is there some other way that the employer can celebrate the employees? Anything else they can do to kind of, show their appreciation at the end of the year?
Of course. Some employers have moved away from the evening holiday party to put on some sort of a holiday lunch for their employees. Other folks are taking an afternoon off to catch a movie, a holiday concert, or even go to one of those escape type rooms. There's lots of things available for employers to do that don't involve boozing it up after hours. One of my favorite activities is actually getting folks together to engage in a charitable event, like serving meals, working at the food pantry, or even shopping for the angel tree.
Those are all great ideas. Those all make a lot of sense. And it seems like it would be something to be fun for the employer and the employee, and would hold less of a risk of liability. Let's say that they decide to do the holiday party and they really do everything right and they still get that complaint on Monday morning to HR. What should they do? What are their next steps?
Well, the employer should treat this situation just like it would any other complaint of harassment that comes in through the normal work week. The complaint should be fully investigated. The employer should take the time to really determine what happened and then take appropriate responsive action based on that investigation.
And, I bet I know the answer to this, but is it a good defense that the harasser was drunk when it happened?
No, Leigh, it's not. Drinking too much is never a good idea, and it's never a good defense.
You don't say. Wow, this is such news to make. All right. Well, Mary, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been really helpful and a lot of fun.
Thank you, Leigh. It was great to be here. Happy holidays.
And that's it for this edition of Close Up on Workplace Law. Happy holidays. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.